Hello and welcome to another edition of Versus. On this show, we are looking ahead to the next session of Parliament. August 1st to the 8th of September. It's been put off once. And when it was put off, there appeared to be a general consensus in everyone but the government, of course, that it was put off to handle the situation better, so the government could be in better damage control mode. This session of Parliament is happening at a time when there is scam after scam, and that doesn't stop. Not even the opposition has been spared. There have been terror attacks. But to debate what this session of Parliament will be about, and more importantly, whether the session will happen at all, because the last session was a complete washout, let's introduce our panel on the Versus. Mr. Owaisi represents the MIM. Thank you very much for flying down from Hyderabad tonight. Thank you very much. Jay Panda representing the BJD. We have independent voices on the show. Ravi Shankar Prasad represents the BJP. Ashwini Kumar, Minister, represents the UPA government and the Congress. And Brinda Karat represents the left, the CPM. Thank you very much. It's a very enlightened panel. I'm very glad to have all of you today. This show is principally an open debate show. But in order for everyone to be able to articulate their point of view, I'd like to request everyone, starting with Mr. Owaisi right there on my left, in a couple of minutes, if you can put out what you think your charter for this monsoon session would be.
The coming session is really important. I hope that this time around we'll have a complete discussion on the Ranganath Mishra Commission, Sachar Committee, and of course the Mumbai blast, and also the pending bills which are there in the government will be brought in this Parliament, especially on Lokpal. Things like the communal violence bill, land acquisition and land rehabilitation, general sales tax. These are the bills I hope will be brought in Parliament. But the important point is that we must have debate in Parliament. And the best example that can be given is House of Commons. Despite having a huge controversy over there, the way they had performed themselves, it was shown live on your TV and every TV. I mean, it was fantastic to watch democracy really working over there. I hope we can be able to replicate some part of it in the Lok Sabha.
Okay, Mr. Owaisi, thank you. You've kept less than 2 minutes, in fact, so we've saved some time. Jay Panda.
Well, clearly, the Lokpal bill has caught the attention of the nation, and that is clearly going to be the focus of this parliamentary session. We wish the government had been a bit more proactive in terms of circulating an official draft instead of bringing in the opposition later into the game. But nevertheless, we'll come out with a view for a strong bill when it happens. But we as a regional party have also other concerns. Land acquisition issues have become very, very volatile, yes, and they need to be dealt with. That has been promised by the government for the past couple of sessions. We hope that there is some action on that front. We have a few other concerns. For example, mineral-bearing states like mine have a concern that the states do not get an adequate share and the local residents do not get an adequate share of the benefits of minerals. The government has some plans on that. We have been making our point of view as a state, and we hope that that will be taken up also.
Ravi Shankar Prasad, are you going to put politics first?
No, the first and foremost concern that this particular session is happening in the context of a overpowering sense of drift in the country. Left hand doesn't know what is the right hand doing. We had a recent blast in Mumbai. There's an attempt from across the border to derail India, financial capital in particular. PM says we shall prevent any further attacks. The Home Minister says every city of the country is vulnerable. There is the issue of corruption, obviously, the Lokpal issue. Price rise is completely forgotten, except occasional references. 3.5 years are there and there is no sign of any control of price rise. People are suffering. One issue I would like to highlight, the role of governors in the non-UPA states, how they are detaining bill, how they are frustrating development. We have got evidences to that. This political role of the governor to frustrate development is an issue raised.
Yes.
Two quick issues I would like to say. This cash scam for vote, is it going Kutroki way? The way without investigation, the Delhi police tells the court that no evidence against Samajwadi Party and the Congress Party. Who was the beneficiary of this entire corruption and bribery? These are important issues. Other issues which Jay has flagged. I think this session, and one thing I would like to say to Mr. Owaisi with due respect, in terms of debate, our parliament is second to none. when the debate rises, cutting across party divide, some of the finest performance we have seen in our parliament. Yes, if there is scope for improvement, we are always there. But there is no need to have any kind of apprehension that our parliamentary debating skill.
There's a precedent for that, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. Of course, there is a precedent. You've set the precedent for that in the
Because,
last session of Parliament. And that's why maybe he made that
Fair
point.
enough, but I must say at the very outset, but for a strong assertive opposition, BJP, CPM, CPI, maybe some of the action against corruption would not have been taken. That's also a fact.
People want to see whether this session will see that coordination once again. I'd like to tell all our viewers and to our participants that once introductory comments are over, I'd really invite interjections specifically to any other individual. Ashwini Kumar. Now, Ravi Shankar Prasad put out a list which is a political list. It's not a legislative list. Are you worried?
I'm going to make my preliminary comments as you asked us to do, and then I'll comment maybe in a minute to what Ravi said. Arnab, the way I look at the relevance or the importance of this session of Parliament is whether by our conduct we are going to reassert and restore the relevance of Parliament as an institution of liberal democracy in this country. Meaning thereby, will Parliament become dysfunctional again, or will it be functional? Yes, the quality of debates is outstanding, provided you let debates take place. We have seen the monsoons, we have seen the winter session being lost to agitational politics within the precincts of Parliament. We saw the budget session curtailed on account of elections in the states and a number of other reasons. 80 bills critical for the future of this country are pending. The people of India have a right to have those laws which will define their rights and obligations, and also the Charter of New India in the 21st century. My one essential point which I want to flag for your consideration is, nobody disputes the opposition's right to put the government on the mat. It is their privilege, it is their right. But please do so in a manner that you do not rob the greatest institution of democracy in this country of its relevance. This is an institution that is in trust in our hands for future generations. All of us together have to restore its legitimacy and its relevance.
Let Parliament happen. That's what Ashwini Kumar says. Brinda Karat.
Well, I think it is rather odd that Ashwini ji should start off by saying that it's up to the opposition to ensure that this happens. In fact, it's the government itself which has set the tone by postponing the Parliament session by 2 to 3 weeks.
Why do you
so
say
that
so?
shows how legitimate they think Parliament is. Why did they postpone the Parliament session? In any case, the points that I think are of extreme importance, there is a national outrage today against the corrupt practices of those in power at the center. Scam after scam. And it's not just a question of the venality of this or that individual, but there seems to have emerged a nexus of politicians in power, a section of top bureaucrats and top corporates. And it is this nexus which is really determining policy in this country. And I believe parliaments this time must have a full-fledged debate on corruption so that the various dimensions of corruption can be dealt with. And I strongly believe that it cannot stop with just a discussion on the Lokpal bill, but it has to have a multi-dimensional approach. The second point I think is very important, people's issues. I mean, I totally agree with Ravi ji, because what about price rise? And when prices are going up, this government once again increased the price of petrol, diesel,
Yes.
kerosene and gas. It's absolutely such an anti-people move. And the third point is, and I agree there with Owaisi ji, the issue of the minorities, the social issues, minority rights, Dalit rights, Adivasi rights, and what about our women's reservation bill? So there are extremely important agendas, both legislative and issues directly impacting on people's rights. And certainly as far as the left parties are concerned, we'll have a detailed discussion on the eve of the session,
Yes.
and work out how we can ensure that these issues are raised.
Ms. Karat, thank you very much. I want to open up for interjections. I also want to say that while you were all speaking, I listed some of the key subjects that have been picked up. And these are some of the themes I have, and I hope in the next few minutes we'll discuss it. Sense of Parliament being blocked. Ashwini Kumar says it's not right. Sense of drift, that's come from the opposition. Corruption, terror, prices, the communal violence bill and land acquisition. I think this would be a very successful show if we can take up each of these issues. My first interjection, therefore, I start off with the interjections and after that you're free to come in. My first interjection is to the government on this one. Can you really, on the premise that let Parliament happen, avoid political debates on the floor of the House? You saw what happened in Britain, where there was reference to it. It was not on the table. It was being discussed and debated in that way because it was a matter of urgent national importance. Can you sidestep issues of major national importance, whether it's cash for votes, prices, terror, or any other issue the opposition raises simply by saying we have 80 pending bills? Mr. Kumar.
No, when I said that we have 80 pending bills, I never excluded political debates at all. In fact, the reason I say that Parliament should be allowed to function is that Parliament must become the forum where all issues are raised, including that of corruption. The Prime Minister has gone on record several times to say that any question, any issue under the sun, we are prepared to discuss, provided let Parliament function, let it not become dysfunctional.
No, but
so
they
therefore,
want
it
to
is not our case.
convert. See, one point here.
I have never said, we have never said, Congress party has never said, the government has never said that if you allow the Parliament to function, we will discuss only A, B, C, D, E. There's a slot for official business, there's a slot for national debates. Corruption is an issue, nobody has escaped that. How many times in the last session did we have?
Okay, we're getting interjections.
No,
first interjection from
what
Brinda
What
Karat.
I want to say is Parliament cannot be converted into a debating club. Parliament debates so we can reach certain conclusions and we can reach certain points where we can work out how to redress the issues which we have debated. On the issue of corruption, this government on every single occasion refused to accept the corruption in the 2G scam. It was because of their refusal that we had to again and again point to it, point to the Prime Minister's role, point to the other cabinet minister's role, which was to cover it up. Only when the Supreme Court
So will you join hands with the party that is protecting Mr. Yediyurappa?
I am with my own party's agenda and I will stick to my own party's agenda.
On the floor of the House.
Certainly we will raise the issue of corruption.
I'm
answering Ashwani Kumar's issue. Don't just make it into a debating thing. Why don't you take an action on it?
Nobody at all says that Parliament is going to be an academic debating society. Everybody says that debates must lead to results, but please, for heaven's sake, have constructive debates.
The result was by the Supreme Court.
I'm so sorry. We have never ever shied away from any debate on any issue. That is our stand. That will be our approach. And I would invite all the parties here to cooperate with the government so as to ensure that Parliament serves the function of being the highest forum.
We're getting another rebut from Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. I presume it is to you. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I don't know, Ashwani is a very good friend of mine. I wish his government reflects the pious view he has just articulated. Yes, the last sessions we were assertive, and we say so with full sense of responsibility, but for an assertive opposition inside the Parliament, Raja would not have resigned. And but for monitoring by the Supreme Court, he would not have gone to jail. The Prime Minister on 2 occasions, we have on your channel debated time and again, how he said Raja is innocent. Let me ask a question today. Be very honest, Ashwani. If we are going to debate this whole cash for vote scam, yesterday the Delhi police said that Congress party and Samajwadi party are not responsible without the investigation being complete. For 3 years, Amar Singh was not interrogated. It needed a nod from the Supreme Court, almost scolding nod, that the Delhi police started into action.
So you're going to pick it up in the Parliament session?
Surely. And I would ask a question. If we want a free and frank debate, would the Parliament, the Honourable Prime Minister own up that this whole exercise had some beneficiary leading to a procurement of the vote?
But
you're talking about the debate. If you do give a notice for debate, I am sure that the issue of corruption, where all of this is linked, will be debated.
No, they're saying cash for votes.
What we are saying,
look, the cash for votes, the cash for votes issue, the cash for votes issue, whether it will be debated or not in A form or B form,
So you've taken...
no, 1 minute. It is for the the functions of the parliamentary committees to decide which matter is going to be taken up, as you know well. The fact remains that so far, in the last several months, we are seeing nothing but debate on various aspects of corruption. The difficulty arises when you insist that our version is the final version of the
never
truth.
say that.
That is what. That is
We
how it
never
comes.
say that.
One
Allah
second.
will come in.
One
The reply,
second.
I know that.
I-
The reply will come.
We have-
from the new parliamentary affairs minister in my house. The matter is sub judice.
Yeah, Brinda Khan,
What
I'm
was
coming
that?
straight to you, Brinda
But
Khan.
if it is sub judice, it is sub judice.
Exactly what.
All right.
If it is sub
The-
judice,
the
it is
problem
sub judice.
One minute, let her
The
interject.
problem is
It's to you, sir.
exactly with what Ashwini ji has said. Have a debate. And after the debate, what are you going to do? You're going to have another cover-up. We want to know for 3 years why no action was taken on Kishore Chandra Deo's recommendation for action.
Yes, right,
It's
absolutely.
only the Supreme Court which has intervened and said, where is the interrogation, where is the investigation? Within 24 hours, they had to move. What were they doing for 3 years?
be-
Was
to
there
be
a-
fair-
What was the
this is
Home
a-
Minister doing?
I have to answer.
Mr.
To be- no, I have to
Chidambaram,
answer this because I
or
know this is not
no,
in- this
Mr.
is incorrect.
Chidambaram gives lectures to everybody.
Absolutely.
What was he doing?
No, no,
For 3 years, why didn't they
question is,
start
let me
with
get
him?
one more view